The awakening. Why do people pay for therapy? Most are looking for comfort. They want someone to validate their wounds. But Epictetus, a crippled slave who became the freest man in Rome, did not offer comfort. He offered a cure. Today, we are not going to just talk about feelings. We are going to dissect 9 surgical rules that are more effective than 10 years of conventional therapy. This is not about changing your life. It is about changing your mind so that life cannot touch you. Welcome to the Epictetus Protocol. Rule number 1, the interpretation filter. Epictetus discovered the main bug in the human brain. He said, "It is not events that disturb people, it is their judgments concerning them." Your brain does not see reality, it sees a movie edited by your insecurities. Here is the mistake. You think you are angry because your boss ignored you or because your partner spoke to you rudely. That is false. You are angry because of the meaning you gave to that silence. So, how do we apply this? Use the 3-question protocol. The next time you feel emotional pain, do not react. Freeze and activate this mental filter. Question 1. What exactly am I thinking? Isolate the thought. For example, I think he ignored me because I am worthless. Question 2. Is this an absolute truth? Question it. Could he be busy, or deaf, or distracted? Question 3. Does thinking this give me power, or does it take it away? Let's look at a strategic example. Imagine you are in brutal traffic and you are going to be late. A weak mind hits the steering wheel, insults others, and spikes their cortisol levels. They interpret traffic as a personal offense from the universe. They arrive at work exhausted and furious. But a Stoic mind applies the filter. The traffic is a neutral fact. They are just stopped cars. My anger does not move the cars. So, what is the action? You breathe. You put on an audiobook or epic music. You use the time to visualize your day. You arrive late, yes, but you arrive with your mind armored and in control. That is power. Rule number 2, the dichotomy of control. Emotional maturity can be summarized in one phrase. Focus on what you control and despise the rest. Anxiety is simply the result of trying to control the uncontrollable. The common error is wasting 80% of your mental battery trying to change other people's opinions, the past, or politics. That is like trying to stop a tsunami with your bare hands. It is useless and exhausting. How do we apply this? Use the 2 columns exercise. When you feel anxiety, visualize a sheet of paper with 2 columns in your mind. Column A is under my command. My actions, my words, my effort, my attitude. Column B is hostile territory. What others think, the final result, the past, the reactions of others. Here is the elite instruction. If your worry falls into column B, drop it immediately. This is not a suggestion, it is an order for your brain. Let's look at a strategic example. You have an important job interview or a date. The amateur obsesses. Will they like me? What if they reject me? What will they think of my clothes? All of this is column B. It is pure anxiety. The Stoic focuses brutally on column A. I will prepare better than anyone. I will arrive 10 minutes early. I will speak with confidence. The result? If they reject you, it does not affect you because you executed your part 100% perfectly. Your self-esteem does not depend on the result, which you do not control, but on your execution, which you do control.
Rule number 3, the independence paradox. Epictetus taught a hard truth. You do not become free by fulfilling your desires, but by eliminating your dependence on them. We live in a culture that tells you you are what you possess. But emotional freedom works in reverse. You are freer when you need less to feel complete. Here's the mistake: confusing desire with addiction. One thing is to desire your partner to be affectionate. Another thing is to collapse if they do not text you back immediately. In the first case, you are an adult. In the second, you are an emotional hostage. So, how do we apply this? Use the preference test. Look at something you are afraid of losing: a relationship, a job, or social status. Tell yourself, I prefer to have this, but I do not need it to be a human being. If you can say that and mean it, you are invincible. No one can hurt a person who does not need anything from them. Rule number 4, the suffering equation. There is a fundamental difference between pain and suffering. Pain is biological and inevitable. Life will hit you. Suffering is optional. Suffering is what happens when you argue with reality. The formula is this: suffering equals pain multiplied by resistance. How do we apply this? The subtraction method. When tragedy strikes, do not ask, "Why me?" That is resistance. Instead, subtract the story. Imagine you lose your job. The pain is real. You have no income. That is a fact. But thinking, "I'm a failure," or "I will never recover," is a story you added. Stop the story. Accept the fact. Do not waste energy fighting what already happened. Use that energy to build what comes next. Rule number 5, the power of incompetence. This rule confronts the ego. It states, it is better to be a beginner in a healthy life than an expert in a toxic one. We are obsessed with being competent. We hate looking clumsy. So we stay in toxic relationships or jobs simply because we know how to navigate them. We are experts in misery. So how do we apply this? Embrace the cringe. If you're trying to change a bad habit, you will feel weird. You will feel like a fool. Epictetus says, good. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Neuroplasticity requires mistakes. Do not stay in hell you know just because you're afraid of a heaven you don't know yet. Be brave enough to be a beginner again.
Rule number 6, the mastery of the pause. This is the most radical rule. There is no freedom without self-mastery. But mastery is not repression. It is the space between stimulus and response. Here is the mechanics of your mind. Imagine someone insults you. In that millisecond, your animal brain hijacks the system. You feel heat, tension, an urge to attack. If you act now, you are a beast, not a human. So, how do we apply this? The 3-second protocol. Do not repress the anger, just delay it. When you feel the emotional hit, force your brain to wait and count. 1. Feel the adrenaline, but do not move. 2. Observe yourself from the outside. You are not that emotion. 3. Your logical brain switches on. In that silence, you have forced the primitive beast to submit to reason. You are back in control. Rule number 7, the exposure principle. We believe that crisis changes people. Epictetus says, no, crisis exposes people. Pressure does not break your character. It reveals the engineering of your soul. Think about the orange effect. Visualize this. You have an orange. If you squeeze it with brutal force, what comes out? Orange juice. Apple juice never comes out. It does not matter who squeezes it. It does not matter when or how. Only what is already inside comes out. The same happens with you. If life squeezes you and anger, hate, or poison comes out, that is not the fault of the pressure. That is what you are holding inside. The pressure just made it visible. How do we apply this? The engineering audit. The next time life hits you and you react poorly, do not blame yourself. Celebrate it. Say, "Thank you for showing me what I carry inside. Now you know exactly what you need to clean." Do not hate the crisis. Use it to see what was hidden and clear it from your system. Rule number 8, the radical coherence. We live in the era of opinions. Everyone preaches values on social media, but few live them at home. Epictetus warns us, the distance between what you say and what you do is the measure of your fake life. How do we apply this? The screaming father story. Imagine a father, face red with anger, screaming at his terrified child, "You need to control your emotions." It is absurd, right? That father is a tragic clown. His words say peace, but his behavior screams chaos. The technique is the silence test. If you could not speak, would your life still prove your philosophy? If you say you love your family, but you always arrive late and angry, your words are garbage. Stop talking. Let your actions speak. Rule number 9, the inner citadel. This is the ultimate goal. Your peace must be non-negotiable. If your stability depends on the economy or your partner's mood, you are not free. You are a slave to circumstances. How do we apply this? The mountain metaphor. Visualize a gigantic granite mountain. Now imagine a violent storm hitting it. Thunder, lightning, hurricane winds. Does the mountain panic? Does the mountain shrink? Does the mountain beg the storm to stop? No. The mountain simply stands. It knows the storm is temporary, but the granite is eternal. The practice is this: be the mountain. When problems arrive, do not try to stop the rain. Become the granite. Let the insults and crisis hit your surface, but keep your center unmovable. The storm will pass. You will remain. Conclusion: the call to arms. Epictetus does not ask you to be perfect. He asks you to be free. Freedom is not a gift, it is a muscle. The next time life hits you, do not react like a scared animal. Use the pause. Be the mountain. If this knowledge gave you power today, do not be just a spectator. Join the ranks. Subscribe to this channel right now. And if you truly made it to the end, comment the phrase, "I am the mountain." That is how I will know who the true Stoics are in this community. You are the sovereign of your mind. Defy your destiny.